It wasn't really that bad of a day yesterday, even though we are at the beginning of winter. So don't forget that uh, if you're having a couple of nice days. I think today it's going to be 40 degrees, tomorrow it's going to be 50 something, and the day after that it's going to be 60 something. So, I'm not concerned with any global stuff going on there. So, what I'm going to do, let me show you something. Okay? This is just how the Most High is. Let me turn this on. He will take something, okay, and it'll be right in your face. And it's the answer to what it is you want to do. It's an answer to one of your problems. But if you don't put him first, acknowledge him in all of your ways, and he will direct your path. Then something that's obvious, you just won't catch. All right? Now, this is where I do my thing. Oh, who's this? Whose car is this? They don't have no lease on here. I'm going to have to catch them. I think he parked before. All right, look at all this space I have. All right. It goes all the way down there. Okay. And it's nice and flat. And I don't have to worry about somebody running me over if I decide to fix my car. Okay? My problem was I live on an incline. You see this piece right here? This is called a inline fuel filter. Okay, now I live on a cobblestone street. Holy moly! And it's on an incline. And I thought that I would put this piece on. It goes under, back by the gas tank. Okay. Here's my little hoopty. Here's my turtle dove. All right. So, I had this for a while, and I asked a couple of people if they could fix it, and most recently, I asked someone to put it in for me, or on for me, and I actually looked on YouTube, and I saw a video of how to replace it. It just didn't seem that difficult, and actually, I initially thought I could do it myself anyway. Okay, so, uh, so there's that. And so I'm hemming and hawing on it, and sometimes when I feel kind of jumpy or like I'm ready to leap, I would find that the piece wasn't in the car. All right, so I watched the guy in my neighborhood. I think he changed his tire or something. I'm not really sure because he was on. He was in my neighborhood and he was on a flat street. So I always was concerned. Oh man, somebody's going to run him over because whenever he would do the repair, his legs and stuff is sticking out, or he'd have to be sitting kind of in the street a little bit there. And my interpretation of that street is you might not want to be doing that because people are distracted. Okay, and there was one accident there since I've been there where a lady that they said, and I tell you what, the worst witness is an eyewitness. Okay, but an eyewitness said that she was on the cell phone. She went through the stop sign and she hit this little girl. So, fortunately, kids bounce. Holy moly! So I never heard that that the kid was killed or anything, but uh, it's just in my brain. If I'm going to take and repair my car there because I have to get under it, I know that people just get distracted because I got that in the back of my head. So basically, what I'm doing, young people, is talking myself out of doing something, all right? Or procrastinating. So I don't want you to procrastinate, okay? I want you to uh, uh, set your goal and accomplish it, okay? Now, here's the part where I wanted to show you about this huge parking lot I work on. But first, like and subscribe to my channel, young people. If you like and subscribe to my channel, I will like and subscribe to yours. And this way we can each reach 1,000 subscribers and do whatever it is someone with 1,000 subscribers can do. So basically for right now, I'm getting quite a few views, but I'm not getting any money for it. So, basically, there's an issue there. I would like to get these thousands of views, but I would like to, get a couple bucks. It's a perfect plan. You just sit here and just make money. So anyway, I don't want to put anything out there in the atmosphere because you know how the atmosphere and karma is. As soon as you say something, the opposite's going to happen. I don't know what I said the other day, but I get pretty close to, I get a high number of views. But yesterday I did 2 of them and I got like 4 views. So I must have said something that they didn't like. Not 4 views. I got 4 likes, but I still got a pretty decent amount of views. So I must have said something. So I'm going to try to be, leery of the things that I'm saying. I didn't get one of those emails that said, "Hey, we're going to throttle you," or whatever it is they do. I don't know. I've never got 1,000 views, or 1,000 subscribers. So, I could watch it. I got one 3-minute one, and I got another one that was like an hour long. And both of them only had maybe 4 likes on there or something. So I generally get more than that, but I don't know. We'll see. For a video that I'm doing live, okay? I get just people just come in. I don't know what it is. They love me. They really love me. For them that know, that was a famous saying for one actress years ago in some movie. All right, so anyway, this is what the karma, okay, for you young people who don't like to say anything about the Bible because you think it's religious or something. It isn't. People who aren't religious read the Bible. Just like people who aren't mathematicians read math books. And that reminds me, if you're still in school, even though this video is not for kids, you're going to have to learn algebra. All right? If you don't, I'm never going to use it. If you take that attitude, you're never going to use it. And it's going to be difficult for you to get a good paying job. And the reason why it's going to be difficult is because in order to go to college, you have to pass an algebra test. So people don't tell you that. So I want you to do the best you can with your algebra test, all right? Ask me how I know. Yes, I did go to college. And it was great. The only thing I didn't like about college is they give you books. You get 3 books for each level you're on. So you get a book for Business 101. Next place you get Business 102. The next level you get Business 103. You get books, and then plus you have other subjects. I even had a course in either psychology or psychiatry. And who knew I got an A? Who knew? So so that was a book. So Each session, I think, lasts maybe 3 months. Just to give you an idea of what's going to happen to you when you get in college, because uh, people go to college and they don't know. So, for example, if you don't have a full scholarship, uh, you get the student loans and stuff, and it'll pay for your classes, and it might pay for your room, but it's not going to pay for your lunch and dinner. So you got to get a job, or you're going to be hungry. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. What you want to do after you get accepted into college. Okay, now those of you who may not know, if you find yourself in that situation, just to help you through, you can ask for increase in your student loan, and you should get it. And it's called cost of living um, adjustment. So that's how I did it. And then I found out a young man. We took him to college, and he was like, "Hey." After a while, he was like, "Hey, can I borrow $1,000?" I'm like, $1,000 for what? So that was one of his problems. When you get your board, you have to share a room with somebody. Okay, now I guess if you don't like the person you're with, if you are a melanated person, you might get a room with a non-melanated person. So I don't know how that's going to work. It's two different cultures in the same room, and plus you're probably under 20 years old, and you might not have had life experiences with other cultures. So they have other cultures have attitudes. They have things they like, and they have things that they do not like. And if you're sharing a room with them, you're gonna have to work that out. So don't just go blasting off. Hey, I got accepted into college. Because one thing I really didn't learn until I became older, because I basically was always in a relationship once I got a certain age. So I went to the military, and we had these, what they call squad days. And what you do is everybody who didn't have a house or an apartment or weren't married or something like that there, we all lived in a squad bay. So it wasn't that bad because we didn't have loud music. We didn't have people getting high outside the squad bay or anything, because it was military. So it's pretty much organized, and people pretty much got along because we were military. So you had to learn whatever it is that they had going, you had to learn how to do it. So it wasn't a problem. But I always had a cultural person, a person who had a similar culture than I did. So I didn't have a non-melanated. They used to call them bunks. One was on the top, and one was on the bottom. So so it wasn't that much of a problem. I don't know if I was a problem for the person in the other bunk, but it just didn't seem to be a problem. We had uh, different times that we would wake up, as there was a time that the lights would come on, but you didn't have to get up at that particular time. But there was somewhere for you to go. If you wanted to eat, you wanted to get up and get dressed and go eat. Okay. Okay. It's in the military. It's true. You do more by 11 o'clock than most people do all day. That's a slogan. Okay. So you might want to eat in the morning. Okay. The food was pretty good because they would cook it fresh, right on what we call the chow line. Hey, what kind of eggs you want? Over easy, scrambled, or whatever. Okay, we're having steak because we're getting ready to go overseas to a war zone, and what they would do is that would be a reward for you, and also indication that you're getting ready to get deployed. But anyway, I digress. Most of you probably did not go in to the military, so that's fine. All right, so now, so we really didn't have a problem with people acting out, people staying up late. When the lights went out, the lights was out. All right, And best case scenario, you would have some headphones. So if you, whereas some people read and other people listen to music or watch TV, that's going to be a problem when you get older and get into your own, young people. You're going to have neighbors. You're going to live in a nice apartment building or something like that there, but uh, uh, you're going to have to deal with neighbors. And one of the problems I found was that I like being in a relationship, so I kind of had a little edge on people. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I had, but for me, I was always exhausted anyway. So I was either working, a student, and in a relationship. And it was a new relationship, so you know, you know what there's extracurricular activities that you would have to participate in that type of relationship. So so I was always exhausted. So I don't really remember having an alarm clock. Just for some reason or another, I just knew that I had to get up and go do my job. Now I was fortunate in one relationship that my job was riding a bus and being a monitor for them bad kids and big wobblehead kids. Let me tell y'all something, y'all kids is bad. But anyway, I digress. So whenever they ain't around you, they're different. But I can understand why, because maybe some of them are bullied, maybe some of them are abused or something like that. There, I don't know, but I just want you to know that little Johnny there might have some issues riding the school bus. That's why they had to have a monitor on there to keep them kids from hanging out the windows. So anyway, I digress. So putting your hands out the windows. Ooh yeah. Okay. So anyway, I was actually the problem because I didn't have. I had a routine, but I didn't have a time. I didn't have a set time to go to sleep. Like when you're a child, you would have a set time to go to sleep. But when you get your first place, young people, you won't have a set time that you're going to go to sleep. So you're going to have to learn the rhythm of the building, learn how other people. You're going to have to become a good neighbor. All right, and this is really trying for you. That's a part that they don't tell you. When you turned 18, you got to get out of here. Well, that's going to be one of the first things that you run into, your neighbors. So one of the problems I have with my neighbor is she wants to plant flowers, and you know how women are, which isn't a bad thing. But the problem is I wanted to plant grass. All right, so that's going to be a problem. So the landlord, of course, he took her side and he let her plant flowers. But what the problem is she would grow flowers that would grow like this high. I mean, literally high flowers. She didn't do flowers that would grow as high as sunflower seeds or sunflower plants. And do you remember when you were younger, young people, you used to take this thing and blow it, and all these little white things would go floating around? Well, she would plant stuff like that, and it, it those are seeds, and they would land in other people's yards who didn't have those types of things. So it was kind of a nuisance. And then she will place them strategically because she had her own entrance. She has a hammock back there, so she could, she's pretty handy. She moves rocks around, and she's one of them kind of people. If she wanted to, she could probably build a waterfall in her backyard. You know what I'm saying? She's one of them kind of people. She's really horticulturally inclined, I guess. I heard her refer to herself once, but it was what she was planning. So whenever it was time for them seeds or those flowers to seed, if I'm sitting on the front porch, they would blow right toward me, or even worse, they would blow towards other people's property. So eventually we were able to get her to remove that. So she takes it from there and she moves it further in the yard. Oh boy. So it still does the same thing. And eventually I just got mad and I pulled that thing out. I'm like, you know what? Nobody wants this. These seeds are landing in other people's yards, and they've got nice yards. They don't have any flowers. They got nice stuff in there. So I pulled it out. I got tired one day because she still managed to have these seeds come straight towards me whenever I'm sitting on the porch. So I try to be patient. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself, and I try to do that. I don't recommend you do that. I mean, if you do that, you should be a professional. You should know what you're getting into, because people have their own interpretation. They might actually think that you love them. Okay, then depending on their physical prowess, that could be misinterpreted. Because with her, it was. So I won't tell you the story, but I could tell you that I don't like that type of woman. She's not on my radar. I mean, you would think I wouldn't be so picky or something because of my age. You better take whatever you can get. Oh, no, 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 no. If you ain't my kind, you just are not my kind. So she is clearly one of those. But in her mind, she hangs stuff on the wall in the hallway. That's her thing. That she calls art. And to be fair, it probably is art, but the thing is, it's not the kind of art that I want to see walking down the hallway. It's a shared hallway. Most people don't put stuff on the walls in hallways in apartment buildings. You can stop me where I'm lying. I haven't seen all kinds of places, but I have worked and had to go through people's hallways and stuff like that there. So I don't know what to tell you. And I just haven't seen stuff in people's hallways. Okay, I do see paintings hanging in the living room and maybe in the bedroom, and once in a while maybe in the kitchen. But in the hallway, it just always seemed to be. I hadn't really noticed that. That doesn't mean that people don't have stuff in their hallways, young people. So you're going to have to learn how to live and let live. Do whatever it is that you can. The Bible says, in as much as it depends on you, be at peace with your neighbor. And so trying to go with what the Bible says and try to go with what you're experiencing, it's going to be a little bit challenging, young people. So do the best you can. People don't really think about you, but if they have a problem with you, they may respond differently. Well, one day she got so mad at me, she decided, and I could hear her. She was hollering and screaming, "Well, I'm going to get on your nerve all day." She'd bang on the walls every hour. She would start again. She was a trip, and she still is a trip to this day. But I think I finally reached a level of being a good enough neighbor. She doesn't do that. We believe that she has dementia, because when I described it to the landlord, that was some of his conclusion. I'm like, oh Lord. So I don't know if you have a family member who has dementia, but that's very difficult. Okay, young people. So this is some of the things that you're going to have to look forward to. It's not just I am on my own and I'm going to sow my own wild oats. No, it is not like that. So whenever I decided I had enough of the yard, I would go out and get my little gardening tools, brought new gardening tools and everything. And I would start to do something on the yard. She'd come running around the corner with her little pitcher of water and throw it right on me. And it caught me by surprise enough that I would take my rake and take it out of the ground and put it in a different position. I'm like, oh, holy moly. And then she was so good with that sneak technique. I actually called the police. She was actually good with that technique that when I would come in the shared entrance, her door was there. and she would wait till I opened my door, and she hit me with another one. I'm like, you know what? So anyway, the goal was for me not to escalate, because when she had that idea that she's just going to be a pain in the butt and just start banging on the walls and stuff, I'm like, hey, I told the landlord, you might want to go in here and see if you got holes in the wall, because she was a trip. All right, so I want you to know that that's the type of thing that you have to experience. All right, think the best case scenario is a person like that isn't actually assaulting you, but they are harassing you. So you're going to have to go to court and try to get that kind of nipped in the butt. But if you're following the instructions in the Bible, it says don't take your neighbor or your brother or your friend to court. So I'm kind of stuck there. So I just had to get to a point where I realized that, okay, I'm just going to have to put up with it. Okay? And here's what helped me realize that this wasn't just happening to me. So I had a stroke at the beginning of December, and the only reason why I remember it is because I looked at my paperwork and it was December the 1st or so. And I go to the VA hospital, but when you catch an ambulance, they don't take you to the VA hospital. You have to go to that ambulance has a contract with hospitals, so you have to go to the ones you get to pick from the ones that they go to for you to go to. So once I got there, I was like, hey, I picked an area that was where my VA hospital was. So I'm thinking, oh, well, they're going to take me to the VA. You know, they know stuff. They know I'm a veteran. But they did not. And I'm telling y'all something right now. Those ambulance rides are expensive, young people. Okay? I mean, it's not like expensive like $250. No, it's high. We're talking $1,000-something. I don't know if it's always been that high. But fortunately, I had the VA. So they will pay for you if you go through something and the VA is either closed, because the VA is a hospital and it does have people in there 24/7. But as far as taking in people, you know, the ER and stuff like that, the ER may be open, but there's only going to be one person in there. So you can't typically just go to the VA for care. So what they'll do is they will pay if you have to go somewhere else. So that helped me a lot, because you know, they say if you get into a medical crisis or something like that, there people file bankruptcy, and I believe it, because just the ambulance ride was $1,000-something. Then they send you another bill. It has all these other things. It just says fees. It doesn't tell you what the fees was. I haven't seen a bill yet that says lunch, dinner. Okay, I guess they'll send that later. Hallelujah. So anyway, I digress. So these are some of the things I want you to consider, not just the person that you're going to be with. Oh, you know, we're in love and stuff. That's fine, but you got to fit in. Okay? And probably one of the problems for you being out there getting your own place anyway is because you in that relationship just wasn't fitting in anyway. Where you are, so you had to move out. Okay, so it doesn't get any better. Okay, so just keep in mind, you're going to need some insurance, especially if you move out. I think you're not on your parents' insurance anymore. Okay, so watch out for that. Try to find you a job that has some type of insurance cover. Oh, okay. I'm trying to get something that has some. Oh, thank you, Admarine 1M5H. I try to be kind. It's easier. It takes the same amount of strength and the same amount of time to be kind as it does to be mean. All right. So anyway, so enough of that. I think you kind of get it. Okay. So now let's get you started on adulthood. Okay. So you may not be into religion or anything like that, but you're really going to be around it. People who are around you may be in it. So this is something that you might want to entertain. Okay. How do you know heaven is on your case? Okay. Number one, when you get out there on your own and if you decide what you want to do, you're going to have to make some choices. And if you should choose heaven, you got to know that there is a heaven or a kingdom of heaven out there. And you may consciously make a decision not to be in that kingdom. So, the kingdom of heaven is prevalent. Uh, it is a choice that you might want to make. Uh, okay? So if you don't make it, well, the kingdom of heaven has some ways to encourage you to get on the right foot there. Okay? So the kingdom of heaven will get on your case. All right? So you already know somebody's going to tell you whatever you're doing is wrong or sin or whatever. So you are going to know when you're out there, you're not in the kingdom of heaven, but just the nature of the kingdom of heaven, it wants to draw you back in. Okay, so that's how you know. If you make this statement, I make one step forward and two steps behind. This is a mechanism that the kingdom of heaven uses. And a lot of the times people say karma, okay, the younger people, but this is actually a tool that the kingdom of heaven uses. Now, most of us will get out there and we don't really have a goal. You just had to get out. Your parents are like, get out. All right, you're 18 or whatever. But don't, be of good cheer. Some parents won't ask you to get out when you're 18. I just was. I was one of those. Hey, look, you ain't got to go to school, but you got to get out of here. I was one of those kinds of parents. But they had a very different situation when we were growing up. If your kids didn't go to school, we believed in the truant officer, and he would come past and arrest you. So, for example, if your kid breaks a window playing baseball or whatever, the parent has to pay for that damage. Okay, so you want to get them out when they're 18, so you're not responsible for the things they do anymore. So that's the legal age to be able to move out. I don't know if you know that you can get some emancipation papers and you can move out that way if you're not 18, or you could just wait until you're 20 if you have one of those kinds of parents. You typically can, if there is enough bedrooms, you could typically stay where you are, but you should know that when you get an apartment, young people, if it's a one bedroom, your landlord does not want a second person moving in there. They're going to charge you extra. And, that's cool. You're like, okay, get a job, help me pay the bills and stuff like that there. But the problem with that scenario is at some point that person is going to move out and that rent is not going to go back down. These are just little scenarios you might want to keep in mind. All right. Everybody thinks that, it's good, but we'll just do like the immigrants. We'll get 4 or 5 of us and we'll all pack into one a bedroom. That's fine, but the rent's going to go up. Okay, especially if you only have a 1 or 2 bedroom. Okay, so I don't know what they'll do if you have a 1 bedroom and if you decide to get married. I think it may not go up, but the problem is the water bill. Okay, so once you get someone else in there, the water bill is going to go up. If you're fortunate enough to have a place where the landlord pays the water. Most places, the landlord does pay the water. And the reason why they do that is because The water has to be in the owner's name. Okay, the lights can be in your name. Um, the gas can be in your name, but the water company is kind of peculiar. The water has to be in the owner's name. So that's something you might want to keep in mind, young ones. All right, so this is how you know that heaven is on your case. Now, the kingdom of heaven works in love, not punishment, not justice. All right, and considering what you are up against, like all those things that I just mentioned, you're going to need to be in a environment or some type of kingdom that operates in love, because you're going to need love to make it. Okay, number one, you can't fight everyone. Okay, and number two, they uh, uh, they believe what your neighbors believe something that's completely opposite of what you do, and all you're trying to do is figure out life. But they just might be a jerk. When I went to the hospital, uh, they found a bed for me at the VA. So fortunately, I didn't have to stay in that hospital they took me to. They took me straight to the VA, and I believe that that was clearly by favor, because they did find a bed for me, which was not in a single room. I had to share this room with somebody, and I was sharing this room with this guy, and he had a problem. He was, oh boy, I don't know what his problem was, but he made noise all day. And the only time he didn't make noise was when he was asleep. And we didn't have no wall separating us. All we had was a little curtain. So my neighbor is good training for that, because what she would do after a while, she would just clap, just indiscriminately clap. All right, you would hear it. It's like a psyop or something. I'm like, what is she doing? So I've gotten to a point where I could just ignore things. It used to drive me crazy, but some older people pulled me aside and they explained to me how people want attention. I don't. I really don't want attention. I'm doing these videos not because I want attention. I'm doing these videos because I want to get 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to my channel. And what I want to do is whatever you can do once you get 1,000 subscribers. And apparently you can make $5 here and there just by sitting around and doing videos. So, you know, $5 is $5. Okay. All right. So that's how you know heaven is on your case. All right. They want to encompass you. They want to take you under their wing. This is what the creator of heaven and earth does. He didn't put you down here for your little wobblehead to go figure stuff out. He already got some stuff picked out for you to do. Okay. He created you a certain way, and there's some things that only you can do, believe it or not. Okay, I'm one of the kind of people who can get on here and talk for 2-3 hours, but everybody can't do that. So there are some things that you can do. Okay, so you want to find out what that is. Most schools are set up in such a way that when you get to wait a minute, second or third grade, they'll ask you, "Hey, little Johnny, what do you want to be whenever you grow up?" Every child, every son or every daughter had something that they wanted to be whenever they grow up. I want to be a fireman. I want to be the president of the United States. Okay. So even a child knows what they want to be whenever they grow up. Okay. Well, we're going to go over that in a minute if you're having problems figuring out what it is that you want to be. Okay. Moses didn't have a plan to be a leader for an exodus. Okay? Who knows that there's no job description for that? Hey, God chose you to lead the people from slavery into being free. Okay, I don't know where you go to school for that. And he sure didn't know how to do that. But to be fair, he was from a family of leaders, because he was actually Pharaoh's I don't know, grandson or nephew or something like that there. So he was raised around leaders. He had education. He was taken care of, stuff like that there. But his family had leaders in it. Okay, I believe that the Exodus had leaders in it, even if they were slaves. So they were slaves, but they were supervisors of other slaves. So they had some skills, and of course, they had some leadership skills. And if their leadership skills weren't used, they also had a whip. So, okay. And then, typically they would just work you to death. I mean, what else were you there for? I mean, you were a slave. You were just there to work until you died. Okay, there was no retirement back then. Okay, so they were slaves, and in theory, that's what they did during the Exodus. So if you were a slave and you guys were bakers, or if you were a baker, well, then that's what you did in the Exodus. So the whole family would be bakers. So if you were in the Exodus, you couldn't go out and say, you know what, I always wanted to be an entertainer or a ballerina or something like that there, and you could start doing that. So they didn't have scenarios like that. All right, what they had was, hey, what does your family do, and what kind of job did you have, and that's what you did in the Exodus. All right, so that's what they did during the Exodus. Bakers were still bakers, builders were still uh, builders. Okay, so that's how they figured it out. All right, so we used to have businesses whenever we grew up, and we used to call them father and sons. So if I was able to get my wobblehead son to do what it is I do now, it would be David and Sons, as a business. So I'm telling you this to say, if you are trying to figure out what it is that you want to do in life, instead of going to Cancun for your 19th birthday, to going to find yourself somewhere, well, what you can do, all right, find what it is that your family does. Nobody home. Find out what it is your family does, and work in that. If your families are farmers, then you find job at a farm. I'm somewhere. All right. If your family is popular, like our house used to have all the kids come to it whenever we grew up. Well, you could find a job in counseling or hospitality. All right, hospitality is always looking for people, and construction is always looking for people. Um, Construction, you may not even have to have skills to get in. They always need laborers. Okay. Now the problem is if you live in a rural area, for you to find those types of jobs. So, for example, if you ever go through a construction area, they always have those people with the flags. All right, and that's a pretty good job to get, because I think they pay them pretty well. I don't know exactly how much they pay. You're welcome. Nobody's home. Okay, and everybody knows that fast foods higher. All right. I thought that I was so savvy that every time I would get a job, I would try to get a job where I could eat. Okay, so sometimes it would be a fast food. I think I worked at two fast food places because I got like that from being in the military. We they always fed us, so that was the type of job that I would look for. But what I should have done was find a job where I could be a singer, like at a playhouse or something like that. There, but what a playhouse is like they're typically around colleges and people want to act and do plays and stuff like that. There, well, you can get a job in there, and you can be the guy who drags all the wires around, or you could be the guy who operates the cameras, or you could be the ticket person. So there's all kinds of starter jobs. All right, these types of jobs may not be something that you might want to buy a two-car garage or all right, a house, a car, a wife, and a kids. These types of jobs will help you get by. All right, until you find a place. All right. So there was when Jesus was here. His dad was a carpenter. All right. So what he did was he was a carpenter. I don't know if churches teach people that, but that's what he did when he got old enough. He just made furniture, which was a problem for him because people knew that he was a carpenter. So they're like, what are you doing out here healing people, healing the sick, and ministering to 4,000 people and 5,000 people? Who's this guy? It's kind of like me. Who are you? I'm talking to people about life and stuff like that there. Okay, I got to use my... I have to hold my phone because YouTube uses a lot of juice, so I don't have any electricity in here, but I do have power packs or power banks, so I can plug them in. But the problem is you have to plug it in the bottom. So if you plug it in the bottom, you won't be able to set it up. All right, I guess I could set it up a little bit. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. With any luck, it won't fall. So if you see me disappear, it's not that something happened. It's just that the phone fell. Okay, so all right. So that's my story on that. So let me see what you guys and gals are talking about. All right. I want to be known as the guy who encourages people to use other greetings except for hi and hello. There are other greetings that you could use. Okay, like if you are from Mexico, they might not have hi. Now they understand hi, but they may not. I think they use Buena Vista or something like that there. All right, so try to spice it up, change it a little bit. All right, hi's good. All right. I see somebody's still using 6-7, and I haven't really found out what the issue was with 6-7. I know I could probably Google it, but sometimes if I like something, I'll just use it, and I just hope that that's not wishing harm on someone. If I say that, I just think it's a nice car. It's a nice handle. Kushik. Okay, and the same thing with Ria. Using high. Oh boy. Holy moly. And push something. Sheesh. I don't want to do that. 49-second shot was uploaded. Okay, that's cool. Let's go back. At least 1 minute of content is needed to create a short. Choose a sticker. Hold on. I pushed the button. Let me see if I close that. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Oh boy. Alright, I don't know what happened, but it took my picture off, so I guess we'll just figure it out from here. I'll get it back on. Nah, no, don't do that. Okay, so anyway, welcome, Samar. So what we do is we just talk. What I am doing is being called. It actually has a term. It's called being present. And what I would like to do is be there for people right now. I don't want to schedule you to come in for an appointment. I want to talk to you right now when you need to hear someone. You need to connect with someone and possibly go over the current events and stuff like that there. I think I went over a current event yesterday, and they kind of really dragged my channel down there a little bit. So I hope I don't say anything today, because I was just getting good at it. I was getting quite a few views and quite a few subscriptions. So if you're new, please subscribe to my channel, and one of the things I'll do is I'll subscribe back to yours. I'm Samir, and if your goal as a content creator is to reach 1,000 subscribers, I believe that that's how we can do it. Each one of us subscribe to each other's channels, and eventually we'll get our 1,000 subscribers, and then we can do whatever it is you can do whenever you reach 1,000 subscribers. Does that sound like a plan, Shamir? Okay, cool. Thanks, Ria. Emma, thank you for joining and responding. All right, Ria. Wow. Okay. What did I wow, Ria? Because it looked like you made that comment before I started looking at the comments. That's what I wanted to do, was I wanted to get my 5 points in first, and then I'm go over the comments, because the comments kind of make you go down a rabbit trail. So I do the comments after. Okay. So just for the sake of giving you a different answer, I know you were saying, where are you from? But I want to prepare you for, if someone asks you that type of question when you get older, it has a different meaning, okay, than it does. So for example, this is what is known as a negative averment. Okay, so when people ask stuff like that, they're trying to lead you into a conversation, and it's typically not for your benefit. All right, if you answer. So what I'm trying to teach you young people is, why not answer a question with a question? Because once you answer someone's question, then that person takes the control of the conversation from you. So what you want to do is you want to stay in control of your conversation. So what you may be doing, asking where I'm from, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to say, hey, I'm from some particular famous football team's area or something like that, okay? I'm trying to push buttons to see if I can get my screen back. Turn that off. No, it's still only showing that little picture, so we're gonna have to go with that. Sorry about that, you all. So, all right, Milk. Are you LGBTQ? No, I am not. And I'm not sure, but I think it's LGBTQ. Oh yeah, it is LGBT. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what it is, so chances are pretty good I'm not it. Because if you were it, you would know it. I don't have room to do any judging on anything, but when I did the research on those types of a lifestyle, they meet a certain scenario. If you don't learn from your past, you're bound to repeat it. So when I did the research and found out what happens to these type of people, it's not so good. It doesn't go that good. It may feel great going through it. You doing what it is that you want to do. But uh, one thing you young people have to understand, that there are systems in place for whatever you decide to do. You will automatically be put or looked at or guided in a system. Okay, so if you can take a look at the conclusion of whatever it is you're doing. Okay, so for example, when I went into the military, I know that the conclusion is I may have to shoot someone. Okay, it's something you just keep in mind. All right, so you don't go into the military if you don't plan or understand that you may be called to ask to kill someone. So it's the same thing with LGBT uh, lifestyle. You may be asked to do something that you probably didn't have in mind. I think that anybody who is LGBTQ, I think they like it. I think they're doing something that they want to do. I don't think they're doing that to be mean. Okay, it's kind of like Christianity. I don't think people join Christianity to be mean. I think they generally have a good feeling and about being a Christian, and that's what they became. And you just have to understand, well, what's the end result of it? Okay, and uh, most Christians understand that the goal here is the joy of the Lord. And that just seems to be something that I wanted to be. When you first decide that you're going to be a Christian, it's a really good feeling. It really is. It's one of the fastest growing religions ever. And it's probably been around as long as at least every other religion. But it wasn't always called Christianity. At some point, somebody figured out, hey, let's call them Christians. I don't know. Okay. Buy me a cup of coffee. Okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can get on there. And what is your Cash App name? What's your... all right, if you got a Cash App, I'll send you a couple bucks. How much is your coffee? How much is that cup of coffee? Because I bring my own. There really aren't that many coffee places open whenever I get up. So I probably have 2 or 3 cups of coffee before I even get to work. Okay. News. Snoop. 4617. Oh, how's Snoop doing? He is still current. You have to understand that these people got all kinds of money. And if they don't have any restrictions on what they can do with the money that they're making, they should be fine. I had a pastor once that the grapevine or the rumor mill was saying that he was taking the money from the church and living lavishly off of it. Number one, if you looked at his car, at least the one he would bring to church, and if you looked at the way he dressed, he wasn't flamboyant or flashy. It didn't look like he was taking the money from the church, because he had at least 1,000 to 2,000 members, and I was one of them. So he had a setup. All right, we were all in the church. It was probably close to 300 people there. All right, and he had a microphone on one side and a microphone on the other side, and anyone who wanted to say something, he wasn't preaching, come on up and say something on the microphone. And what I realized was I was following the doctrine that he was teaching and preaching, and I never had to ask the church for anything. So that's what I said. So if you are doing, the Bible says that the Bible says the words in the Bible are good for profit and for reproof. So basically, if you're doing a the work of the kingdom of heaven, you should be making a profit. Okay. Now, to be fair, I don't think that I should be paid to be a preacher, pastor, teacher, or evangelist. But I do understand that somebody might want to give me something, and I should be prosperous in that form. But when he sent them out, he told them, don't take nothing. Don't take a suitcase where you can put all the money in. Yeah, all right. Don't take no extra clothes. All right, because back then they didn't have transportations, buses, planes, and trains. So they went out with whatever they had, and you sent them out by twos. So, okay, so that's kind of my idea, um, how it is. So Snoop is, he should be okay. Um, and the only reason why he would want to be present is because, he just needs something to do, I think. He's made enough money. He's still making money. There, he should be able to retire. But one thing I learned about being retired, it's not what you think. When you retire, you should have a plan. Okay, so I know some of you new people, you may be a pretty good ways away from thinking about retiring. But hey, put it on the table, okay? I believe that he had the presence of mind to save something somewhere, and he should be able to live, maybe not according to the lifestyle he had whenever he was the number one entertainer in that field, but he should be able to live more comfortable than he was living before he became famous. I'm just saying. So yeah, that's how I think. But he and I we don't talk. Okay. You are a kind and wise man. Thank you. All right. Earth 1M5H. Thank you. My problem is it wasn't something that I chose to do. It's just something I do. So when people ask me when I was growing up, little Johnny, what do you want to be whenever you grow up? I did not say kind and wise. It's just something I became. There was this famous basketball player. I think his name was Dennis Rodman. Now, I'm not really a sports enthusiast, but I watched that because he was. I watched that interview because he was. He would say stuff, and you might want to hear it. It didn't. Whatever he was saying didn't have anything to do with me personally and my goal and my journey, but I figured I would listen because I knew a little something about it. But his problem was he is not a kind and wise man. Okay, IMHW. So he was kind of selfish. Now this is just my opinion. Okay, and the interviewer asked him. A little kid had asked him for an autograph, and the way I understood the story was he said no. Okay, and people couldn't understand that if you're famous, you should expect to give autographs. But he didn't feel that way. All right. And one of the answers he gave was, look, I never wanted to be a role model. And the person that interviewed him said, well, wait a minute, hold on. I put the cart before the horse. What he said was, I'm not a role model. And I never, the interviewer said, hey, you are a role model. All right, it's been a while, but I do remember the story. He said, I'm not a role model, and I never asked to be a role model. Okay? Fast forward to 20 something, 2000 and something. He actually, I think he met Kim Young or whatever that guy is from Korea. I remember seeing a picture of him, or maybe a quick video or short or something, or it could have been AI. I don't know if they had AI back then, but he actually went to Korea, or he was depicted as going to Korea. I don't know. So you never know what someone is going to do. Okay, so you want to clearly don't be a person who judges. Okay. All right. So now let's see. America has a pedo for president. Okay, I remember the first time I read the word pedophilia. I had never heard it before. So back when we were growing up, we didn't have Google. So I actually had to go to the library, okay, and find the definition for the word. I'm like, oh, okay. So you may not know this, Rory Tar. Um, Karma and the universe and the kingdom of heaven, it has some rules that were already set. So you're going to have to learn some of these things. If you do this, this is going to happen. Okay? If you live like this is going to happen. These are just rules. They're universal laws. Okay? In the kingdom of heaven, there is something that has been said that the people will get the type of ruler they deserve. Okay? So that's just how it is. So, for example, we got Barack Obama. He was a good guy. And that's what we deserved, a good guy. He was so good, he actually got reelected. So he was in there for 8 years. All right. Now the one we have now is the one we actually deserve. Believe it or not, it doesn't have anything to do with me and you personally, but there's enough people to get the leader that we deserve. And it's been written for 2,500 years how that works. Because the people used to be run by the kingdom of heaven at some point. Now, other places had kings. So, the people in the kingdom of heaven who were being run by God, prophets, stuff like that, they decided, hey, we want a king like everybody else. And there was a warning. If you get a king, he's going to take your daughters. And if you get a king, he's going to take your sons and send them off to war. And it's been like that since. Nothing has changed. That's exactly what rulers do. And even in the United States, that's exactly what they do now. They are pedos, and so they take your kids. He's getting ready to do something overseas, so he's going to send your kids over. In theory, if he does what has been done before. So I believe that. So what they wanted was a king that was head and shoulders over each other. So I've seen the president who has been invited to the United States under handcuffs. He's tall. He's huge. He looks like a giant. And I'm pretty sure that the guards that they put on him were not short guards. They had to put guards on him that could wrestle him to the ground if he decided that he didn't want to be a prisoner anymore. So he is head and shoulders over those guards. So that's the kind of ruler that people want. You don't typically get someone that's short as a ruler in these types of scenarios. Okay, so it is what it is. All right, so whoever's going to sleep, F4S, go ahead and rest. It's how your body charges up. All right, I'm a huge fan. What's your OnlyFans? I will subscribe. Okay. I like YouTube because it's free. So OnlyFans, if you have to pay for it, I try not to pay for stuff or get a subscription. So even if you subscribe to me and you are a OnlyFans uh, page or something, I probably wouldn't subscribe back. And one of the reasons why I wouldn't do it is because it's not something that I would look at, and they tend to be automated in their responses. So I don't like keep getting messages from people, and it's AI, and it's generating opportunities for me to respond. I got too many that I do want to read. Okay, where I find a job, good sir. Okay, so you basically find one that does what your family does. So, for example, if your family has a reputation of being good cleaners, or if your family has a reputation of being, so you can always get a hospitality job. All right, in hotels. Okay, you can always get a job in the fast food places. You can always become a flagger. If you ever see any construction anywhere, they always got those flaggers. Those guys are separate than the company that they're working for. All right, and this, unless they're really big and they got their own flaggers. But you want to have flaggers when you're working on the side of the hallway, on the side of the roadway. So a company may be big enough to have their own flaggers. Okay, but basically they're uh, separate. Okay, so if you are good at cleaning, so for example, if you're a person who does not have dishes in their sink at this time, right, as we're speaking, you could get on your community websites, and you can offer to come people's houses, come and clean people's houses. Yeah, people will hire you. Just don't overprice yourself. I mean, all right, so that's something that you could do on your own. You may need some ID, but it isn't a kind of job where they are hiring you and you're going to pay taxes. It's more like you give me this and I'll give you this. If I come and clean, you give me a couple bucks. So that's not really a job like you go somewhere 9 to 5. All right. So those jobs are really pretty fast to get. Older people in your neighborhood, they always need help. There are some things that they just can't do. You can go wash somebody's windows. You don't have to wash every window, but people are willing to give you a couple bucks to clean their front windows. What I used to do when I was a child, I think maybe around about 10, 11, 12, I used to go in the neighborhood like in the fall, and I would sweep people's sidewalks of leaves. So, I always had something to do. And then they pay you cash to do that. So, let me see what else you can do. If it's inclement wherever you are, you could always go and shovel someone's sidewalks. People, that's a job you can get in anywhere. People always look for something like that. Okay, nobody home. All right, you're welcome. Okay, Yaka, hi, how are you? Serene, GOT, greatest of all times. All right, so I didn't get that many comments today, so I'm done with the comments. If anyone else has a question, go ahead and hit me up, and I'm going to try to figure out how to close this thing. Okay, thank you all for your time. Thank you so much for sharing. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Do it now, so you won't have to think about it later on, okay? Shalom.